I mean, this is one of the things that I struggle with emotivism as well, and subjectivism, in the sense of how 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 do we say something is right or wrong past uh, with those theories? Like, I mean, subjectivism is the opinion is the truth maker. So in that regard, if someone decides it is moral to rape and torture babies, then subjectively they are correct because their opinion is the truth maker, and that's one of the problems with moral subjectivism. Emotivism is very similar in that regard, except it talks about the way people feel about the situation. But again, it's your emotional response to the situation. So therefore, under emotivism, if you know raping and torturing babies gave you enough pleasure, you'd say that it was a moral behavior. And again, I think that that is something that would take all of us to go, no, no, fuck off. Um, so under moral particularism, it sounds like it's open to the same issues.
Yeah, sort of. There is no moral truth in moral particularism, not in that sense. Like there is no, it is wrong in an absolute sense to do X. It's just that we have certain standards that our society goes by, which influence our moral intuitions. We have certain emotions, and we think of circumstances in particular ways, and that all goes to creating a moral judgment. And the more we practice these moral judgments, the kind of better we get at them. So if somebody decided, oh, well, yeah, it's okay to rape babies, you might challenge that and say, well, look, no, I don't think it is because you're not bringing about any good, you're doing harm. Um, the rest of society thinks that it's wrong. So those circumstances are just wrong to do.
With subjectivism and emotivism, was it? Or
Emotivism.
emotionalism? Yeah, you both of those are relying purely on the individual's reaction and judgment, whereas particularism, although it's the individual making the balances and weights for it, it is accepting a wider moral structure.
Yeah, because it's generally one of the circumstances that you would take into account in moral particularism is a kind of relativism, a sort of cultural relativism, in that, well, in this country it's wrong, and even if you were to go to another country where it was right, you could say something like, well, I feel it's wrong because the rest of the world feels it's wrong, and you're doing X, Y, and Z. So I would say that there is no circumstances that kind of justify this as being a good action.
So, like the example with, say, countries that decide to kill atheists because their deontological rule set, a divine command theory, says that that's fine. Um, Under subjectivism, they would be fine to do that because it's their opinion that's the truth maker. Under emotivism, it would say that they feel they are right. So again, because they feel that they are in the right, they are, morally speaking. Under moral particularism, it would be more of an argument about the way the whole world sees this particular act. And see, this is the thing. How do you justify between them thinking it's right and someone else thinking it's wrong under moral particularism?
That's the difficult part. I mean, it's basically a guideline to help think of it is as something like virtue ethics. It's not like virtue ethics in that there's virtues and stuff, but it's you practice at gaining a moral disposition. You practice it getting good. Um, so in a circumstance where two groups kind of disagree, the only thing you could really do is hash it out and see who assess those circumstances and argue them out.
Would it be a fair thing to say that moral particularism would be more a set of ways to judge how you act as opposed to a set of ways to judge how other people act? It's more of an internal thing as opposed to a judgment on other people?
Yes and no, because it's
Okay.
also judging other people. But that's why I say it's sort of like virtue ethics, in that it's sort of reasoning about your own behavior and then taking that outside of your own self and judging the actions of others. Like, you might judge a junkie to be bad, but another person under moral particularism might say, well, look, he's got these circumstances, he's grown up abused, he needs a way to escape that abuse, the memories that come from it, so maybe you're judging him a bit harshly. And then that other person might take on those moral kind of arguments and intuitions and adjust their own kind of reasoning about it.
So it's a system which allows more of a discussion than deontology or consequentialism.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I do see what you mean by about the relation to virtue ethics in that way. Obviously, virtue ethics is essentially training yourself into virtuous behaviors and learning to judge situations, and eventually hoping it becomes an autonomous practice, so you don't have to think about, in this situation this is my behavior, in this situation this is my behavior. Eventually you will get to the point where you are acting virtuously without even thinking about it. Under moral particularism, it's like virtue ethics light, because you're not comparing it to virtues, you're just comparing it to intuition, which, as you say, is similar to emotivism. And then the end result is who's got the best argument.
Yeah. And like I say, under particularism, there is no moral truth. So it's not like saying I'm right and you're wrong, or your behavior is objectively wrong. It's like, well, I feel it's bad. These are the reasons I think it's bad. I wouldn't behave like that myself. I would hope you wouldn't behave like that. Here's the reasons why I think those particular circumstances are bad. I mean, the person might turn around and say, well, these are the reasons I think those particular circumstances are good. And like you say, all you can do then is hash it out.
Yeah.
Or avoid the person because they're a dick.
Yeah, I mean, it's yeah. Yeah, I struggle with anything that says that there isn't a moral truth of some kind somewhere. I don't think there's necessarily absolute or universal truths. I think that you can get objective truths that may differ from situation to situation. You can have a contextually correct, in this particular situation, it is wrong to steal, but in this situation, it's permissible. Even if it's not a moral action in itself, it's permissible. You're not being completely immoral by doing it, because etc.
Basically, you go by general principles rather than universal principles.
Yeah, but
that wouldn't be particularism.
No, it wouldn't. No,
Because
as Dave was saying, sorry, go for it.
I was just going to say, because you're using a particular set of principles to judge things by, and you apply those principles consistently, even if they're grounded in a more general approach. You might take the circumstance into account, but that's because your principles say, well, if the person is suffering and starving, then it's okay to steal because society hasn't helped them enough.
Exactly. Yeah. I do think that there is. I mean, when you look through most moral theories, either as a first order or goal, or second or third order effect, you do seem to have this flourishing, human well-being at the heart of it somewhere. And I think that all morality sort of stems from flourishing and well-being, collaborative and cohesive societies. and we can judge things based on how well this represents it, which means that you can have different rules for different situations, like you might with moral particularism, but I would say that there is a truth about the situation rather than just an opinion or a intuition or a feeling about the situation.
Yeah. The thing is you could argue that those moral principles are what creates your moral intuition. You train that moral intuition by those principles, but you apply those principles consistently. So therefore, it's not just an intuition. Whereas in moral particularism, it would be, well, all the experiences I have lead me to judge this particular instance in this way.
But you're still, like you say, you're still using those principles, and they are what influence your intuition. But you're also being open to being persuaded otherwise, which is just reasonable, surely. Like, oh
Yeah.
shit, I hadn't thought about it like that. So
Yeah.
you can still have those principles in particularism.
Yeah, you can. It's just that you would argue that those principles don't apply consistently or across the board or to everybody in every culture. They're just the guiding sort of the things you feel that are right and wrong at that moment are what guide that intuition and what guide you to make that judgment as good or bad.